This is some of the most valuable real estate in North America. And despite a continuing problem with homelessness in Toronto, development along the lakeshore continues at an unprecedented rate. And it stops here, a 24-acre plot of toxic landfill, where until a couple of years ago, a community of squatters had built a shantytown known as Tent City. After their eviction in 2002, nothing remains of Tent City except the stories of these rugged and often troubled people who now adjust to life in mainstream housing. In 2001, the homeless population in Toronto had outgrown the hostel system by several thousand. Ever resourceful, the homeless were now occupying places we had never imagined they could live.
We have another camp.
You know, this is a very interesting... I just need to get a shot of this. This is very cool. It's like a bamboo jungle in here.
Beavers have been at it.
What's that?
The beavers have been at it. That used to be my bedroom, right there. Used to be a house right there. And so did this. For our fireplace. You can see our fire brick right there. Where we built our fireplace. Used to be a good place at one time. It's pretty messy.
Butch used to say that this was one of the nicest places he lived since prison, and I was surprised that even before building permanent homes, they had built an altar.
We don't profess faith or religion. You believe what you want, we believe what I want. But we read this.
In the previous winter of 2000, others in Tent City had been given Durakit huts by the Toronto Disaster Relief Committee. Randy called these his condos on the lake, but their arrival in the winter of that year was so media-worthy that Home Depot, owners of the land, held off evicting the squatters, and these huts may be the only reason Tent City existed in 2001.
People say? Well, they told me, well, is it movable? I said, yeah, you put 2 beams underneath it and we move it. I go to job sites, like I work construction all my life.
Still, the threat of evictions remained, and Tent City grew.
5 city inspectors come down and inspect this house, eh?
Seriously, what do they say?
You couldn't say nothing?
On the street, the homeless had asked me for everything. But here, people seemed more independent. They could even make a living from the toxic soil, selling antique bottles.
I got a beer coming here, brother. This is all an old city dump where they came from.
What year was the dump?
14 on the one side and 08 on the other side. That's when they closed. Some soil we have to go 35 feet, some soil we have to go 15 feet, and some soil it's like, yo, 4 feet and it's giddy up.
He sleeps in there.
He sleeps in this.
He sleeps in that.
I stopped looking to the street for interesting stories. It seemed to me they were all here in Tent City.
Yeah. See, they're going to do a studio for making films.
Yeah, another one.
On the waterfront where we are. It's going to cost them 150 million and employ 2,500 people. So I won't get a job. Not even as caretaker.
I originally met Brian in the summer of 2001, but caught up with him again in the winter. Now he lived in the front of Tent City. He had moved because there was too much crack use going on in the back end.
Your pockets. I kidnapped the police in Ottawa.
What?
I had them all chasing me. I had one cop beside me here, right here, he's driving. As you get on that phone, you tell him back off. No secret, or family jewels are going. So I got out of the car, because the cop wanted to talk to me, the chief of police wanted to talk to me. I got out, he says, put your gun on top of the car. I says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put my gun there if you take that gun out from your boot and put it up there. And one cop stuck his head up. That's how I knew there's another cop there. Other than that, I never knew. He says, you know, if we made a move, we're gone.
What were you doing?
I robbed this here bar. New skin there, new skin there. Why, you want them? Because I've changed. I don't know if I changed for the good or the worse.
I'm going to ARF. I'm going to some kind of program. I'm going to find out tomorrow when I start.
Since the first time I met Eddie, he has always talked about going to rehab, but he never has. He had killed a couple of diddlers in prison, and I remember thinking to myself, maybe he needs to medicate those memories.
Like 71, I got a murder beef, and then in 75, some guy was raping a kid, and I ended up stabbing him 41 times. I ended up with 17.5 years. It doesn't mean that I'm right in what I did.
Right.
But that's the way it went. I like me better now than I did then. How's that? I'm more of a... I like people more, and I like me, so, you know.
Eddie is a friend, but a classic crackhead, loyal and caring when straight, and driven by an insatiable urge when high that compels him to do unsavory acts.
Ran into cocaine.
When are the best times to actually, you know, find a loaded car?
Thursday, Friday night.
Why?
Anywhere between 8 and 10 o'clock, since people are going in for supper and they leave their stuff out in the car. Or, if it's a rainy night and they come home at night, they won't take their stuff out because it's raining and they don't want to take it wet. Just as long as the sharp edge touches the windows his.
I want to see this.
Rainy nights are the best night. You wear your fucking slicker and away you go. Or a snowy night. And the other best time is Sunday mornings. Is when they go up to go into the church, the women always stuff their purses in front of the seat because they don't want to take the money and put it in the box.
I boosted some tools out of the truck. Nice too, brand new. I mean, not even opened yet. No.
Terry and Eddie have known each other a long time. Terry has spent most of his life in institutions and prison, but he is not helpless by any means.
My mother's full-blooded Cree Indian.
Right?
And I have a saying, the top half is Indian, bottom half is the asshole.
Terry had a variety of tools up his sleeve, and he preferred honest work to crime, but could rarely get honest work. So he adapted.
Ooh, wrong end, huh? Yeah, because you want, the copper is what you want. Because you can only get up so high, and I was walking along. See that bottom flat piece?
Yeah.
I was walking along there all the way.
Seriously?
Around. Oh yeah, hanging on with one hand, walking along, pulling it off.
Terry and Eddie often faced hazardous conditions to eke an existence from scrap, and in the time I've known them, they have never begged. It's amazing how hard these guys work to make $30 or $40 a day, and I sometimes think it wasn't about the money, but perhaps about keeping themselves otherwise occupied.
I did. Let's see what happened, man. Are you cut?
No, just smack my elbow. Right, because that's heavy copper in there. There's, you know, about 22 pounds, 30 pounds, you know, 30, about $42. Which, I mean, you know, $42 to some people isn't much, but for me, it keeps me going for 3-4 days.
As a harm reduction worker, I did needle exchange, provided condoms for sex trade workers and others on the street. I flew a crack pipe program one place because we know that Hep C is being passed through the pipes as is tuberculosis.
Not everyone in Tent City was an addict or an ex-convict. Bonnie arrived after a personal cataclysm left her homeless.
Reduction work, I had a...
Did you get paid well for this kind of work?
No, I didn't get paid well, and I'll tell you one of my sort of pet peeves is my ex-husband was a computer repairman, and for him to fix some kid's computer cost $65 an hour, but for me to keep their kid alive with clean needles, condoms, and counseling, for that I got $15 to $16 an hour. You figure out the justice. I'll tell you something else I believe about this. When our ancestors drank hard, or most of our ancestors drank hard, built shacks, had nowhere to live, couldn't afford land, they were called pioneers. A bunch of people come down here, take all the garbage from society, rebuild homes with it, and they're called homeless. I don't think we're homeless, I think we're alternatively housed, and I think nobody wants to accept that.
In the winter of 2002, while homeless people died on the streets of Toronto or suffered the iniquities of an overburdened hostile system, folks in Tent City fared well. They were warm. They helped each other out.
then one night my dad caught me coming back in my window. He was sitting in my room. Did I ever fucking get a beating? Oh my God. But it never helped. I did it over and over and over again all the time. Then I started doing drugs at an early age.
What kind of drug?
I started just doing pot at first, and then it just got heavier and heavier. And I got into cocaine and speed and you fucking name it. So when I started doing heavy chemicals, I started stealing more and doing a lot of crime, eh? Then I ended up selling drugs. I did 18 months for that. That's only maybe once or twice a week now, eh? Which is fucking amazing for me because I used to go all the time. Toronto never sleeps.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's always tricks out on the street, always.
Right.
I like it down here, I really do. And if it comes to the point where they're gonna kick us out of here, I want to take my house with me. We've built it to be moved.
To make an appearance, I sure as fuck ain't gonna help them. I don't believe in it.
I don't think it's about the church. I think it's just about them having a place to
make it look more like a community. Wait till the first kid's born down here.
When's that happening?
A few months.
Who's pregnant?
Shannon with Danny, and then Karen with me.
Before we stopped smoking, we didn't really care about this house.
I remember Shannon as one of the squeegee kids downtown. She looked frantic and crazed most of the time.
Smoking, we've been clean 4.5 months. I'm proud. I really am. It's only 4.5 months.
Now sober, she seemed hopeful, yet haunted.
How old are you, Shannon?
I'm 20 years old. I lived in a group home.
Right.
And
How'd you end up in a group home?
My parents. My mother's a crackhead and my father's an alcoholic. 4.5 months. And with my son, I was this big at 7 months.
You have another son?
I have one little boy.
Let's see.
We lost custody of him. For one, we can't bring a baby down here.
No.
2, our addiction.
Like so many of the young troubled homeless I met on my journey, it was Shannon's past which caught up with her, regardless of where she lived or how she was housed.
But I'm still not on my own. Like, I'm in transitional housing. Last time I spoke to my father when I was pregnant with my son, I told him I was pregnant. He called me a fool and hung up the phone. That's the last time I spoke to him. Basically, my mother was never around. All I cared about was my next toke. That's all I cared about. When I squeegeed for my dope. I'd make 20 bucks and go get 20 piece. Make 20 bucks, go get 20 piece. Make 20. In 5 years, right now I want to go back to high school and finish my grade 12. I got 7 credits to finish, and then I want to go to college.
What do you want to study?
You know what? Childcare.
You get a chance to talk to them. That will be something to see them have a baby here.
Yeah, and then it becomes a community.
And then it's, you know...
Then they're really fucked, aren't the city? Then they have to help.
Or not.
Well, supposedly there's supposed to be a fucking, what do you call it, prefab coming in.